Ooh, yeah, it's a Friday, a day or two after the Spanish Supercopa in Riyadh. But I figured, it's a Friday evening. I figured I do like messing around with Twitch, messing around with Streamlabs. You know, reading about Logitech and how they own Streamlabs. So you know what? Why not pad the MAUs um, for Logitech, very minimal conflict of interest, I suppose, on the extreme margins, if one looks at it that way. But as you may know, if you go to my channel, way a couple years ago, I think 2017, 2018, back when the Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors would go, it was like what 3 years, 4 years straight, whereas the Cavs and Warriors in the finals, and just these insane brawls and duels and um, one of those videos like Kevin Durant, like Kevin Durant had the ball punt fake or Steph Curry punt faked, LeBron slipped. It's like a bit of a talked about moment. I made a little video talking about that. I made another basketball video just looking at a specific play, as if I was like analyzing tape, and another play with like Boston Celtics or something, getting a big basket against the Cavs. So I figured, may as well 3 years later on a Friday revisit that, um, and through Twitch, which will then be exported to the YouTube channel. Is El Clasico. Extra time, the start of extra time. This game, of course, Xavi's Barcelona. Barta. Uh, I butchered that. As we see, the pixelation is very bad. I couldn't find the actual video that. I didn't want to go to like the BEIN sports like YouTube video. I don't want to do that. Um, but none of like the Reddit threads, like they don't have the build up from Dembele, but the mess up from Dembele is huge into how this play developed, as we'll get into. And so this is the only clip I could find that actually had Barcelona's build up, and not just the insanely beautiful counterattack. But starting out, as you can see, Barcelona, right, traditionally playing tiki-taka. I'm not sure how you would describe their tactical system this season, when they're playing like Luke De Jong, which isn't really a tiki-taka type of striker or front man, and certainly in this format, like I don't right tiki-taka, you play in triangles. There is no triangle here. There is no passing triangle, so it's not with tiki-taka. It's maybe they try to hit Real Madrid on the break, but maybe I mean 4v5, 4v4, 4v8. As you can see, right, so Dembele had the ball out. He had, I think, maybe the Pai or Ansu Fati out here. You could have laid the ball off to you, decided to cut inside. So, of course, as we're going to see, Dembele, uh, Dembele gives the ball away, right, with that dribble inside. I guess I can't blame him too much in retrospect because his passing lane was cut off by I think Rodrigo, and pixelation is not the best. Yeah, I suppose he could have tried to cut it, pass it inside. This man is probably offside. That would have been a bit of an ambitious pass. So really, I can't fault Dembele. If I'm being honest, I can't fault too. I mean, he did try to press back. He didn't really engage with it. Yeah, so I can't blame him too much for that. So Dembele does deserve criticism for a lot of things, on the field, off the field, like his contract and extension, TBD. But I can't fault him too much because it is extra time. It's like I'm sure from his perspective, right? He knows he has a player out here. He knows he has player here. So I can't imagine that he expects there to be this huge gap, or for the counterattack or for the numbers, right? For Real Madrid to just so quickly get past, right? Because right here, 1, 2, 6 Barca players behind the ball. Instantly turns to 8 Barca players behind the ball, and now it's 8 Barca players behind the ball with only the 2 defenders and Ter Stegen back there, and that happened in literally seconds. I honestly like that huge, just that beautiful contact. I can't blame I cannot blame Dembele too much, if I'm being honest for this. Like maybe he could have I suppose he could have held the ball up and just like backed off and recycled possession, and then to set up those, maintain possession, pass the ball around, maybe swing it out wide, get a cross in for De Jong. But I can't blame him too much. If I'm being honest, is that and expect him to have this much positioning, especially when like the immediate pass is cut off to recycle possession that was cut off. I can't blame him. I cannot blame him on that. But to the next phase, right? So, and again, to dribble, maybe he could have nutmegged the player, gone past, and cut inside and lay it off or go for goal. But I can't blame him too much. So, right, so Barcelona in good positioning. I guess you could criticize the space, but I suppose like, as out wide as you can be. So you are trying to set up that triangle. Maybe they could have been more out wide, but they lose possession here. I think Lucas Vasquez. Yeah, here's Federico. Oh, good. The most impressive part of this counterattack is just, how beautiful it is. It's like one of those, beautiful silky counterattacks. As we can see, right. So right from the get-go, Valverde closes down Dembele and is now in position to break upfield. Right. The Real Madrid playing a 4-3-3. So as we can see, I mean, I suppose this goes down to just the bigger fact that just Madrid are just so much more athletic than Barca, right? In terms of just the midfield, right? Like Dani Alves 38, Busquets like 33 or something, versus like Valverde, Casemiro, Rodrigo, Vinny. Yeah, even Toni Kroos, it's like so it's just beautiful layoff. And so as I mentioned before, it's just incredible how quickly the numbers turn from, how many from Barca players went from like 8 players ahead of the ball to 6 players ahead of the ball to 3 players so quickly. If you're right, and so I can't blame Busquets for pressing, I can't blame Alves for trying to make the play. Maybe he could have done try to go for a red card offense, like Valverde did against Atletico Madrid with the foul against Morata, like a couple years ago in 2019, I believe, before COVID with the audience. But again, 97 minutes, so they would have had to play 23 more minutes with 10 men. For a possession-based team, probably wouldn't work out. But again, that quickly, literally 2 passes, right? 1 pass, 2 pass. With 2 passes, Real Madrid have completely unlocked Barcelona in 2 passes, which is that's just a crazy quality to do. And then from here, you can kind of see how it's kind of trouble. Honestly, I wish there was a close-up of this tackle, because I'm not sure how close Alves got. Or I'm sure just Casemiro, that's just insanely clutch from Casemiro. Honestly, I'll probably say it's just insanely clutch from Casemiro. But man, it's just, and then I can't blame Busquets is not going to get back. Neither is I think Gavi or someone. But man, Casemiro lays off, maybe a bit out wide, but to Rodrigo. And if I just, there's a damning image a couple seconds ago. So there's a screenshot making its way around Twitter, which was of this shot, right? And it is very damning, right? Like 6v3. It's not really completely fair because Busquets is like a 6v4, which is semi-reasonable. But man, a beautiful layoff. I suppose you could criticize I think it's Nico, 28, for not. But then the dummy almost messed up with that first touch, but gets it in. Man, it's just there's just how smooth that transition was from attack to defense. It was, I'm not sure how you can describe just how silky that was. Because again, as I point out, it was literally 2 passes. And who can you? I'm not sure who you can really blame. But I suppose I think this is just. I think this is a good job just showing how like smooth this possession was. I'm not sure who you could blame. Maybe you could blame 20 for not tracking back faster because maybe theoretically, if he was a bit faster, he would have been in position to cut that pass off, complicate things for Vinny for that dummy. But again, like got some very like thin margins of the actual shot. Maybe like Vinny, as commentators like Vinny did too much of that fake, almost confused confused the team. But for the squad to be unlocked that quickly, right? Again, because it does like nothing seems egregious with this, right? Because especially when like you are 2-2, you are like have had moments in the game. Like again, Dembele could have held on possession, but I don't blame too much, right? 96 minutes extra time, and maybe you don't want to go to penalties. Maybe you do want to force it. I believe Dembele would have been a substitute, so he would have had more energy at this point. But again, I think this just shows this Real Madrid is like their Mourinho era like counterattack. It's just or honestly I think just talking about it just it comes down to just like the fact that these players tracked back, a combination of just the initial positioning of the Real Madrid players of tracking back, right? Having 8 people back. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, man. Yeah, a combination of Real Madrid just having players tracking back to be in the first place, to force and regain possession. The second thing would be Barcelona playing this defensive mishap, I suppose, because as we can see, right, they do have like 2 players functionally man marking the 2 players Real Madrid did leave upfield, and so then if there are 2 players up here, then you kind of do have to blame the rest of the players because, as we established, Dembele did not have any real passing options. Right? Cannot really because he couldn't pass it here. Couldn't pass here. It would have been a very ambitious thing to cross it to make the switch. If you did make the switch, maybe Casemiro, Toni Kroos cuts it off, and then it is still back into counter-attack position. So I suppose if it has to be blamed, it has to be blamed on Dani Alves for not providing that outlet and positioning of the midfield. And then it's the very haphazard way in which the players press, right? Like here, it's very slow, right? Maybe there could have been a chance, right? So 1 press, 2 press, 3 press, no press. And at that point, then it's to find the outlet pass, right? When you're breaking 4 players moving upfield, you had your 2 outfield players already up the field. Man, just beautiful execution. And so the culprit has to just be like Barcelona's positioning, and I don't blame them if like having 2 players, only 2 players back, marking the 2 players from Roger kept up, because you are chasing the game. You feel like you can recycle possession. I can't blame him on that, but at the same time, I can't blame Dembele. So I suppose I have to blame one of the 2, right? I either blame like so the blame goes on the midfield for just getting bypassed in that way. But yeah, I mean, I suppose there's not much you can do against a really good counterattack. Maybe you could blame the Busquets or Gavi Gavi to get back, or Nico for getting back, but man, there's not, because again I'm repeating myself, but it's very startling to see how quickly this just would have broken down. Because again, here there's nothing egregious, like maybe Dembele lose. It's just how fine. I suppose it just comes when like pure player quality comes in, or maybe Valverde, because maybe like maybe Isco wouldn't have been in position to actually contest Dembele. But you could foresee, right? Honestly, I suppose it does come down to just pure class of I think it would have been Lucas Vasquez, actually doing this little dummy of because conceivably he could have just booted it outbounds. He could have kicked it back to Courtois. So, but again, individual class. But again, I guess the big thing is, I'm sure. So Dembele probably could have held on to the ball, maybe, but it would have. it would have been more of an instinctual thing at that point. So I can't, because there's no way he could have expected for the mid the midfield to be completely vacated. Um, in that, right? Because just from a positioning standpoint, right? I suppose he knew at this point from full time they're meeting, like they would have, they would have been, playing very aggressive. Only PK and Araujo, or else whoever marking, staying up, just like 1-1 on the in the back. So you would have figured, so what? So 1-1, 11 minus 2 minus 1 equals 8, as we can see here. So Dembele, he would have known 1, 2, 3. So and 4, so 8 minus 4. So he would have expected there to be 4 players. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he would have expected that. He would not have expected that midfield space to be completely vacant. So I can't blame him on this. Pure class on this part to open the ball. But man, who is this guy? Who is that? Yusuf Demir or somebody? I suppose he could blame him a bit for not tracking back, because that could have freed up how to. But again, this entire collapse happened in like 15 seconds. An unskippable YouTube ad in this beautiful counterattack, and after, I suppose it could be just blame some of the outfield players for not tracking back, because it is extra time, right, in El Clasico, in the Supercopa de España, for not tracking back. I suppose you could blame I think Yusuf Demir, but it's just insane how quickly the bars. So there would have been 4, right? So there's 2 players here. I suppose I think it's Ansu Fati. Like, okay, fair enough. Like, not a whole lot you can do. Being the striker or one of the, I guess, a winger or a number 10. Maybe not a whole lot to be expected at that point. But for the functionally, I guess from the get-go it would have been a 3-on-4, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 2. So already the numbers disadvantage. But man, it just, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if any of these guys were on a yellow card or something, but just foul, Or I guess Busquets tried to foul, just not able to get there in time. Just class from Toni Kroos, just laying it off with the left foot. And Dani Alves could have fouled, but legs gone. Oh my gosh, yeah. You can't. None of these guys who are in the frame. I cannot blame any of the guys who are in the frame. Maybe Nika or Gavi mix them up. I guess maybe, but man, these guys back here I mean, maybe like what, like an N'Golo Kante or like a Declan Rice type, would have. Man, yeah, just a difference. I don't even think it's a tactical thing. I don't think any tactical setup would lead for an unbalanced positioning, which doesn't allow for any passing triangles or any passing outlets to maintain possession. I don't think Xavi's intention of lining up in this way was for that to occur. It's not a tactical blunder. Not an intended coaching error for Barta. Of course, Real Madrid, playing with some 4-4-2, 4-3-3, with one of the wingers tracking back aggressively. Would have been that, but oh my gosh. It's just such a again, it's such a pleasant, because doing proficient counterattacking is difficult. It's as you can see, right? Like, it's difficult to initiate, right? Sometimes if a player just isn't that sound or lacks the confidence, wouldn't be willing to contest and potentially give a penalty with a foul, right? So maybe Dembele could have just dribbled around, found space, passed it back, recycle, yada yada. So again, just so having that class in the defensive solidity in the first place, right? Because 4-4-4, there were no obvious passing options as established, and then I guess from that point, just poor positioning in the Yeah, I guess Barca got caught out in the sense that if you're saying you got caught out, it's in that like you committed too many players forward. Except in I guess in caught out, getting caught out isn't even the right term because it wasn't as though Barca had too many players forward because they only had only had five guys nominally forward, right? Which in the grand scheme, so and then five backfield players. So when it's not egregious numbers in balance to the skewed in favor of being a forward. It's not even so getting caught out in just positioning and lack of tracking back. Just look at the difference in pace. The difference in pace. Like sure, those guys are running, but uh, uh oh my gosh, Ansu Fati. Oh my, like you don't even hit 20 doesn't even hit top gear until right. I guess I'm not sure if like he's expecting, but just notice the difference in gait, right, and trying to track back. So I'm not sure if he was like so he missed the initial press on Valverde, right? And so he you can see right he sees the missed by Busquets, and you can see that just Valverde building a pace, Rodrigo building a pace, and so it's only at this point he starts, and so my gosh, and so I guess you could say that oh my gosh, such a beautiful thing, but man I just so you I suppose you could fault the fact that Barca players were trying to press or like counter press, I guess, and like some quasi pressing, Gegen pressing setup in the first place, right? Because I guess you could have said, right, at this point, if Gavi started tracking back, if they both started tracking back, you would have had a like so if they both started just tracking back instead of trying to like press or regain possession, they could have had 2-3, and so a five. It would have been a 5v6, 5v5, depending on if Ansu Fati, right? So it would have been a 5v5, 5v6, and which wouldn't have been egregious, right? Because at that point, because again, right, a football field is only that wide, and so really once like right, you play like a back four, you covered the entire uh, width of the field, right? And so with a 5v5, a 5v5, a 5v5, 5v6, there's only so much space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you would have blocked the obvious passing lanes. Maybe you could have forced a poor pass. So as you can see here, right, not really was a bit wide for Rodrigo. So oh my gosh, it's wonderful. In Football Manager, I would like to play Real Madrid. When I play Football Manager, just I play big teams just because I like having a big budget. I like having recognizable players. Don't have to worry about tactics or micromanaging too much, you know. And so I would like to play Real Madrid save. I definitely would be interesting to sign Mbappe, maybe sign Holland. But yeah, I think this just shows pure class. Of course, by Real Madrid, like maybe in the build up, right, playing against like Elche or get Getafe, it might be right where like Real Madrid have to create on their own. Could be a different story, but just on this counterattack, clearly right is pure like immense athleticism, and then just effort to get up the field to get back. Just man, you could do a lot worse than what Carlo Ancelotti has done with Madrid. So I don't want to. No, I don't want to. I'm not a Madridista either. Like I'm a bit partial to Atletico Madrid because like my first soccer scarf was an Atletico Madrid soccer scarf. When I bought it for €10, I thought it was Real Madrid. And little did I know, such was my ignorance back then. I guess 4 years ago. Such was my ignorance. So, oh my gosh, such class. On this Federico Valverde. Oh my gosh. Just pure class from all of these guys, man. Yeah, again, maybe blame maybe what PK's bad habit of going to ground, but oh man, yeah, do the Messi celebration, but oh my gosh, just one last time, just 20 seconds. Oh my gosh, I can't go. It's so beautiful. Just, just oh my gosh. Oh my, a full stadium in the in the Santiago Bernabeu, or heck, even in the Camp Nou in the Madrid and Barcelona respectively. I man, to hear that crowd noise, um, in that setting, oh my gosh, just what a what a string of act. Oh my gosh, just how smooth it is. Yep, immense. You know, I was like a lesser midfielder could have lost possession, could have been rattled, could have like if he passed the ball earlier. Yeah, I guess he could have. But even if he passed the ball, right? So it would if he even if Casemiro passed the ball to Benzema, it would have still been a 3v2, 4v2, 5v2. Except to be frank, if he passed it to Benzema in the more central position, right? Because he would have, because then the ball would be between the two center backs, and he would still have the full right. Because it would not be infeasible to thread a pass to Rodrigo, especially for Rodrigo's pace, which provides you a nice window of air. Ah man, lays it off. Man, so many options too. Like, so there was that. I suppose Gavi's cutting off that. Again, right? Just the difference in passing options allows for creating chances, creating possessions. The dummy, oh man, just, and oh my gosh, I spent almost half an hour just praising and then just gushing over this attack, but man, it's such a beautiful piece of play that a good way to end the night on. So, man, not a Madridista, but Madridista, Madridista, but no soy Madridista. But this was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Man, I, I probably should try to go to an exhibition game one of these days. Or, but that's the beautiful thing about football. So just the spectrum of outcomes and situations, right? From just from a build up play to how quickly things change in 15 seconds. The time it takes me to maybe open a jar of pickles. This happened. Insane. I mean, if Roy Hudson was commentating, it would have been great to hear whatever he would have came up with for this. But man, insane. It's very good. Well, definitely thanks for sticking around. Of course, again in Twitch, just variety, whatever stuff seems interesting. That wouldn't that I find interesting and like to talk about, you know, port it over to the YouTube channel. So hey, man, what a goal! What a golazo! I mean, a golazo just oh my gosh, it's not a golazo. Well, like a tactical golazo. This was. Oh my gosh! From that note, man, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. And if there are any cool moments, like some very rough shot analysis, quote unquote analysis, I don't really call this analysis because it's not. Definitely then send it. Tag me. Oh, but man, what a piece of play. What a 17-second experience. Oh man, have a good night. Have a